All right. Well, hello class. Welcome to this practical application of architectural lettering that we've been covering with these videos. Okay. So again, you'll need your drawing tools along with this handout that you can find in Blackboard, that you see right here on the left side of my screen. Now, this handout right here it's really meant to be a guide, not necessarily a, you know, um, I don't know, it's not set in stone. I mean, there's no police. Like we've been discussing so far, as long as things are legible, right? They're even, uniform, and they're done with care and craft. There is some freedom in terms of execution, as we'll discuss. Okay, so the objective of this exercise is to actually use the handout that you have right there on the left side of your screen so that you can start practicing your architectural handwriting. Okay, so I'm going to guide you to how to set this up on your sketchbook. Okay, so you'll see that we have right here, and perhaps at some point you have to maybe go back to this frame of the video, because you'll see right here some dimensions right on your screen, on the screen, right, that'll help us set this drawing up. Okay, that I'll go again over as I work on the exercise. Now, we'll see how this goes. I'm still trying to figure out the best way for me to record these so that you can actually see my workspace, but hopefully this is a good start. All right. So the first thing that I will do is start on our new sheet in our sketchbook. Okay. So we can find that. Okay, we're gonna need this actually in just a little bit. All right. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is set up our what's called margins. All right. That's going to be our two sides, right? The left and the right. And also our top margin. And we can see right here from this notes right here, maybe I'll go ahead and highlight it if it's helpful, right? But our margin is going to be 1/2 inch on both sides, left and right. And then also 1/2 inch top. Okay. Right now, we're not defining a bottom margin, but let's go ahead and do 1/2 inch as well. Okay, so just so that we remain consistent over here, right? So bottom is 1/2 inch. Okay. All right. Okay. So what do we do next? We have some margins. What do we do next one as well? The next thing that I'll do is to grab our set of pencils. Okay. We're going to, let's go ahead and use the finest one, which is the 4H. Now, why would we want to use the 4H? Let's see, this is gonna focus. Oh, there you go. All right, I'm gonna use the 4H. Why would we want to use this 4H? It's the hardest of my pencils. Well, remember 4H, the H, usually you want to use these for outlines or for, again, guidelines. Remember, these are very hard leads, and they're going to be very light, or they should be very light. Now, it's already sharpened. What I am going to do, I'm going to get a little bit more of a sharper end over here. I'm going to grab my sandpaper over here. Let's see, let me maybe place this over here, try to keep things, just kind of like sharpen this out a little bit more with this sandpaper over here. Nice. Cool. I have some trash right next to me. All right. So half-inch margin all around, easy, right? Let's go to a brand new page in our sketchbook. Okay. So again, we want to set up half-inch margin all around. Now, how do we want to do this? Well, grab my ruler over here, right? Mark my half-inch. Half-inch there. Half-inch here. Half-inch there. Half-inch there. Okay. So I have those pencil marks right there. I'm gonna use my T-square. All right. Now, if you're gonna do this, it's important that your surface is even and that your sketchbook is even, right? So what I'm doing is aligning this end right here of my T-square along this top edge of my sketchbook. I'm gonna use the mark that I gave myself previously, and very lightly with my hands, I'm gonna do my first margin guideline. Okay, so I have done that right there on the right side, I'm sorry, and you can barely see it right here. And that's the whole point, that it's noticeable because I need it, but that is as light as possible. Okay, now I'm gonna come back right here on this end. It's not ideal to have a cross sort of arm right here, but you know, it's the end. Let's make sure that this is set up correctly. Okay. And what I'll do, since I'm not really sure if it's straight or not, I'm going to give myself another mark right here on the bottom, right, half-inch from over here, should be right here, and that way I can actually use my T-square and my marks to make sure that this margin is straight and aligned. So I have my two side margins, and I'll do my top one as such. Okay. So half-inch margins all around. Okay. So you can see top margin right there, side and side with my 4H. Okay. Now from there, we can actually go back to our reference right here. Right. So we have, we'll do the date. The date is actually on top of the top margin, and that's 1/8 above. We'll come back to it, but we're gonna set up our lines, our guidelines for the title right here, which is architectural lettering, right? Now, here are the dimensions, all right? So the size of the letters for the actual title is gonna be 3/8. That's this dimension and this dimension right there. Now there's a space, there's a gap in between those that is a 1/4 inch. Okay, so 3/8, quarter, 3/8. Got that? All right. We'll just here it is. I dropped my eraser. There it is. Right. So what I'm gonna do is very lightly, very faintly, I'm gonna give myself 8-inch marks. Now, you may recall that tool that briefly we talked about on the previous lectures, that you can see some of the videos that I shared with you using. That's what it really can help us do what we're just doing right now, but it's okay, it's not a big deal, right? So I'm actually just giving myself here 8-inch marks, very lightly, very faintly. That's why actually I sharpen my pencil even more with the sandpaper, to give myself 8-inch marks so that I can set up my spacing. Now, not all of the letter spacings are going to be 1/8, but they should, if I recall correctly, be multiples of 8, meaning that it's 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, and beyond. All right. So I'll go ahead and set about half of my sheet. You'll probably need the full sheet, but just so that I can keep going. Okay, and I'm using a ruler. In this case, it's a tiny little scale. And I'm gonna open a little bit the blinds here, let some light in. Hopefully, it's not too much that it's uncomfortable for my eyesight. All right, so I have set that up. Okay, I'm gonna move my camera a little bit right here to the side, give myself some space. You'll still be able to see what I am doing. Okay, so let me give myself. So again, these are guidelines, so you want them to be very, very faint, very light. Okay, now you can actually see my marks right here on the right margin, right? So what do we say? Let's go back, right? 3/8, quarter, and 3/8. Okay, so 3/8, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, now a quarter. How many eighths is a quarter? Oh my God, math. I did not sign up for this. Well, don't sweat it, right? Quarter of an inch, that's 2/8. Okay. So I'll select 2/8 right there. And then another 3/8. 1, 2, 3/8. Set this up right there. All right, so I have the 2 lines, or the spacing that I'll need for my title, just my title. Now let's go ahead and give ourselves the top margin right there for our date. That's an 8. Do sort of halfway there. I don't need to take it all the way along. Okay. All right. Excellent. Let's see. From there, let's see. Did I not specify? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 eighths. All right. And 4/8 is equal to half an inch. Okay. But we can count them right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then from there, I have 1-inch spacing, and I'll let you know. I'll show you what I mean right now. That's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 6 1/8 sets of guidelines. So we have our first one. Okay, So let's start actually here. We're gonna come back and do our cheat title later. But before we do that, let's actually start learning, right? Some of our alphabet right here on this 1/8 of an inch spacing that I will have given ourselves. Okay, so this is where you'll need the handout, right? The handout that I provided for you. All right. And I want you to get familiarized with it and try, right, to copy that. Now, let's grab a different pencil for that though. Rather than being the 4H, let's see. How about, let's grab a B. And again, it's already sort of sharpened, but I'm going to sharpen it a little bit more with my sandpaper. And I'm actually going to see if I can real quick print this handout here at home. So I think that's going to help me since I'm a little bit awkwardly positioned to be turning around. Let's see if I can print this real quick. But in the meantime, I'll be sanding my paper, my B pencil. All right, let me run upstairs see if this came out real quick. Be right back. All right, so I would encourage you to print it out as well if you can. I think it helps. So we'll start over here, right? Again, the idea is to get a feel for this, right? So the first letter, of course, is the A, right? Now, right, A, B, C, D, E, F, let's see if I don't skip one letter. That usually happens. G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. All right. First set of letters right here. All right. So let's talk about a few things right here. Let me grab a different kind of pointer right here. All right. First things first. Okay. What is critical about these letters right here is that the verticals are vertical, right? So the A, let's see, let me drop maybe a color. So the A in this case, right? It doesn't have vertical lines. They're all at an angle, right? Now you can see how I did this 8 a little bit different than what's on the handout right here for you, right? The B does have the vertical, so that's the most important thing, okay? That these verticals right here are as straight as possible. And the horizontals, such as the little palitos of the E and the F, the little sticks, they are slightly at an angle. And that's what gives them that character. It's almost, in one of the videos, one of the persons mentioned that it's almost like the letters are moving. It's almost like they're trying to tell you something, all right? I guess you could say that. Now, aside from that, another thing that is really important right here is that you actually use the guidelines. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen students create guidelines and don't use them. They either go way too past the guideline or way too short of the guideline. Now, it actually adds some character if some of the lines pass the guideline. That actually looks interesting. Actually, you can see it from the handout right here. Let's see, let me try to zoom in the handout right here. All right. Cannot mark. Why? All right, I'll try to use my. So right here, it's not allowing me to use my mark right here, but you see how many guidelines there is? There's a center one right here. I don't have that many, right? This, preference, but out of this guideline right here, you can see how the P even passes that right there. The D, right, the little belly of the D, it passes the actual guideline mark right there. That's okay, right? I mean, it does add some character, right? But do be mindful about that extent and what's actually doing to the letters and the entire alphabet. All right, so underneath that, let's try our numbers. By the way, you may have finished all, the alphabet in one single line. You may have not. It's okay, right? Just go down to the next one if you didn't, or or even if you finish short, like the handout right here. Once you finish the alphabet, go into the numbers. In this case, I was able to fit the alphabet exactly in one single line. That may or may not be the case for you. But I couldn't fit the numbers on that same line, so I'm going to go on to the next line on the bottom. Now here it's important. This is one of the other very common mistakes, is that we don't leave a space in between the letter, right? So what starts happening is that they overlap. So let's make sure that we leave one space right there. So I'll do right here, I'll start with the 1. And I'll move through the numbers right here. Now notice that the handout gives us 2 3s. That's my personal favorite one. Now, for example, the handout gives us this 4 right here,
right, with the vertical line right here and that, you'll see me that I do my fork kind of like this right here. Go ahead and try both. It also gives us 2-7. For clarity's sake, I do add the little centerpiece for the 7 actually myself. So go ahead and try that. The 8, one of my favorite numbers, not really sure why. It does gives us 2 9s, one of them more with the hook right here, the 9. I actually do more like the second option with the straight stem. And then lastly is the 0.
All right. Now, your task is to do, right, 3 sets of alphabets with numbers at 1/8 of an inch, 3 of them. So you see right here in this exercise when I was setting the class right here, here they are, right? So 1, 2, 3. You can actually see in this case right here, I was actually able to fit the alphabet and the numbers on a single line. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that.